Hey guys, how's it going? My name is the Crypto Analyst and welcome back to the Crypto Analyst live stream. Today we're going to be doing some technical analysis on Bitcoin, XRP, Ripple, Ethereum, and a whole bunch more, taking your guys' requests, doing some technical analysis on it, breaking down the fundamentals of what the market is reading today, and looking at it all from a bird's eye view. So if you guys are interested, go and stick around for the video, and I hope you guys do enjoy the live stream. It's going to be a lot of cool stuff tonight. We're going to be covering a lot of stuff cryptocurrency related and diving into so many cool things and even taking a lot of requests from you guys, the audience, tonight. So we're going to go ahead and get this rolling, get this started, and hopefully everything works out smooth from here because we got a lot of cool stuff in store for tonight. So tonight really marks the beginning of live streams again, and live streams on this channel and how they work. Again, no webcam for about another week, but then we're going to start getting things rolling back into how they used to. Now we do have chat and stuff available, as you guys can see that on the right hand side, where you guys can also just type in chat. Your guys' requests will come up, and then I'm able to actually take your guys' requests and what you guys want and put that in the live stream and other videos. So we're going to go ahead and give this a second. Go ahead and post this in the Discord. If you guys aren't in there already, there's a link for that in the description below. But we're going to go ahead and post the link for this in the Discord so that everybody in the Discord has access to joining these live streams, and so that they're all aware essentially that we are starting this. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that out, and then we're gonna dive right on into this, starting off with Bitcoin. Now this is gonna be a pretty cool one. If you guys haven't seen the video from the past couple days, we've had some pretty cool ones going out so far. We've had one from my personal Bitcoin 2019 prediction, and also one that was this crazy prediction from a guy named Philb, who actually has made some pretty historically accurate predictions for Bitcoin, and his next prediction was essentially bringing Bitcoin up to $300,000. Now this is the same guy who brought Bitcoin from 20,000. He called the top of Bitcoin being at 20,000 and the bottom being at 3,000. So we'll see if that plays out, but we're going to be covering a lot of cool stuff just like that. But that's just a glimpse of what the past two videos have been about. So if you guys haven't checked those out already, go ahead and check those out as well. I'm going to go ahead and post this in the thing, and then we're good. All right, so now we can go ahead and minimize this and get the show on the road. Perfect. All right, welcome everybody who's in here. I see people are coming all in here. Curtis, what's up? Randy, Poker Throat, great to have you guys in here. Veld, great to have you. He says bull run. Curtis says bull run, yay or nay. So that's the thing. That's actually going to be one of the topics of tonight, and we're actually going to be talking about this because there's a lot of really good things happening in crypto, and especially in Bitcoin recently. So all eyes are really on Bitcoin and the bull run. But as I've mentioned previously, there is one major thing holding us back from these bull runs over here, and that is the fact that we cannot hit a higher high on Bitcoin. And I still think that that is the hardest milestone that Bitcoin has to pass right now. And that's really the ultimate milestone that Bitcoin needs to pass at this point, and is that it needs to see a higher high before it does anything else. But I want to go ahead and break down what we're seeing over here in our pennant that's forming on BTC, kind of acting actually as a bull flag in this inverse head and shoulders formation, because we've talked about this before, nearly being invalidated because of just how awkward this thing looks, with your left shoulder being so much shorter than your right shoulder, and your right shoulder actually having so much more consolidation, considerably more, almost 2 times more than your left shoulder. So you have to play these things into factor when looking into inverse head and shoulders and reversal patterns, because even if this doesn't act as a head and shoulder, this is still looking bullish because you're actually kind of having a bull flag getting painted on Bitcoin right now with a pennant forming. Now, this is something I mentioned in the Patreon today, and we're supposed to actually have an Ethereum YouTube technical analysis that was supposed to come out and get published on the channel today. Wasn't able to do that, did not have time, but hopefully we'll get an Ethereum technical analysis video out either tomorrow or a Bitcoin one, because I want to start doing more technical analysis on altcoins, because I know a lot of you guys asked for them, and then move ourselves from there, because I know a lot of people have their eyes on Ethereum right now, as Randy Schultz is saying in chat. A lot of people have their eyes on Ethereum and looking at these altcoins. I was talking to one of the Patreons today about Neo. We are actually talking about the like what would be a good entry for Neo, just kind of critiquing the technical analysis charts and looking at stuff like that. And again, it's just like I see it on YouTube comments, I see it on here, I see comments everywhere asking for more altcoin content. And so we're actually going to start doing that come the year of 2019, because a lot of people love Bitcoin, but they have way more time investment or maybe even money investment into altcoins because they know that there is more money to be made in the altcoins because of how volatile they are, and along with the lower market cap. So let's go ahead and break this down. Now, again, this is something I mentioned in the Patreon earlier, talking about why this is a Bitcoin pennant, because this is essentially, or why is that Bitcoin pennant? Why is this a bullish pennant? Because what we do is we have this rally upwards, we have this pennant forming now, and then essentially what this does is it can paint a bull flag. Now, this is one of the weakest bull flags that we can paint because pennants in themselves are relatively neutral patterns, and so what I mean by this is they can kind of lean one way towards or another, but it's only usually about a 60-40, so it's barely ever so leaning one way or another, because when this gets painted, pennants can really break out either way. And that's the hard thing about pennants, is that you can have a great entry, but it might not necessarily go your way. But if it does go your way, that's all about entries on pennants, right? If you want to make sure that you will get a good entry on a pennant, you got to buy the support, or if you're shorting, you got to buy the resistance, and then have a tight stop loss, because you can easily get stomped out. Now, this was a pump fake over here, very briefly breaking the 200 EMA of Bitcoin, faking out and actually coming back down here, falling right back into this pennant pattern and actually going back. So now all eyes are on Bitcoin right here. Can it break out, and can it hold candle body closings over this line and actually breach the 200 EMA of Bitcoin's 4-hour on Coinbase? That's what the question that we're asking ourselves at this point. And to be honest, again, I think this is a bullish pennant, and I think that there is a good chance that this breaks up towards the upside rather than to the downside. Now, am I buying right here? Absolutely not. Again, this is another thing I mentioned on Patreon. If it were to come back down towards support, it did not get to do that, so I did not enter this position. Buying up here would be the highest risk possible. You're literally buying at resistance, so buying at the hardest level for Bitcoin to break. Now, could it break out? Yes, you could FOMO in at this point, but again, it would be the highest risk area of possible if you wanted to buy this area of Bitcoin. Now, immediately we're asking ourselves, all right, well, where would be resistance from here? Of course, all eyes are looking at this 200 EMA, and if we're going to the daily, then we're also looking at the 50 EMA and the 50 MA, which are not that far above it either, because again, it's riding the 50 MA as we speak, and then the 50 EMA is not that much farther above the 200 EMA on the 4-hour, but over here we have the 50 EMA on the 1 day, and that is right around $4,125. So these are really going to be your hard resistances, as well as previous candle body closings and previous tops over here. So I would say anywhere really everywhere until we break above this 50 EMA on the 1 day is going to be pretty hard resistance for Bitcoin. But again, if it can break this, we could actually see some nice upside, and we can maybe even see ourselves go close to $5,000 if we did break this. So I'm going to go ahead back to chat and see what they're saying, take some requests, and then we're going to get back to the Bitcoin technical analysis here. Veld said, maybe after we pass 4,200. Randy said, I'm waiting for a $4,200 as well. Veld says, curious where it will go. So if we're looking from here, if this does break out, you can kind of do a measured move of this pennant. Actually, yeah, so we can actually go ahead and do something like this. Is there so if we were to stack this on top, I guess it's gonna let us. I would imagine it goes, yeah, so I would imagine it goes somewhere up to around $5,000 even. And again, maybe with the help of some other stuff, it could actually go ahead and reach this resistance, because there's very little resistance in this area until you reach, again, there's going to be some consolidation over here. But I think that we could very well go all the way up, maybe even the $5,500. It's a chance, but that would require us to break out of this with some very good volume. Now, if it does break out of this with very good volume, then you could have yourself reaching back up to here at this resistance level. And I think what you would see is probably hit resistance here, maybe a little bit here once you hit that 50 EMA on your 1 day. You'll probably hit a little bit more once you come up to this area, and you'll probably have a pretty fast move up for the most part. I'm not saying it's just going to be skyrocket. This is not, what I'm not saying with this drawing is exactly how it will go, but then I think you're going to top out right here resistance, because what that will do is you'll actually meet this area as well. So again, there's going to be resistance in this area, and then I think you could come back down, because this is a giant falling wedge. So when we're coming back down here, this isn't necessarily a bad thing. And I think so we're looking at this on the 4 hour right now. But even if we were not to break out at this point, which, we very well could, even if we're not, we've talked about this a lot. Like, imagine if we just come back down, maybe we hit 2,700 or something, then we break out of this falling wedge. That's just equally as good, and people don't understand that sometimes you need to come down just to go up. And going up with better volume is going up with no volume, because we've tried going up with no volume and it hasn't worked thus far. And so we really do need to rally with some good volume here if we do want to have a breakout from Bitcoin and actually reversing in this way. Now, there's a very, very good chance that we actually do bottom here. We've talked about that a little bit before and why this could have been the bottom, and along with what Phil said, because again, his prediction is out of this world. Curtis says, not enough volume. Okay, yeah, so perfect. Curtis is also talking about volume. Curtis said, not enough volume, most likely will break down. Veld said, I short Bitcoin here, or I shorted Bitcoin there. Curtis also said, miss likely. Miss. Likely good call. Ethereum short at 160. Let's go ahead and, actually, we'll finish the Bitcoin analysis, and then we'll dive into it in Ethereum technical analysis. And then we'll actually look at the 160.3 price on Ethereum and work our way from there, and actually see if that's a good shorting opportunity. I'm wondering if Ethereum will break first. I can't see Ethereum breaking up and Bitcoin breaking down. Seems counterintuitive. Velt said maybe that 24 bill will help. Hopefully so. I'm watching from bed. What's up, Community Gamer? Glad to have you in here, man. All right, so let's go ahead and finish this Bitcoin technical analysis, and then we'll move on to Ethereum, because, again, Ethereum's a very hot topic right now from people talking about the ascending triangle on it, but yet it looks bearish, and Bitcoin, it looks like it wants to go up, and maybe Ethereum looks like it wants to break down, and people are having all these mixed opinions. So let's go ahead, dive into our MACD indicators and oscillators, our RSI, and what exactly are we seeing? So I want to point out one thing when we're doing this, guys, and that is the fact that, again, you're looking at this on a 4 hour, and even if we're looking at this on a 1 day, I want to point out a number of things. These rallies of negative volume on our oscillators are getting consecutively lower over here. Keep note of that. That's saying, hey, guys, this volatility is getting less and less extreme for the bears. They are losing their power over here, and we're actually look like we could be preparing for something towards the upside, but we are actually getting ready for a larger move on Bitcoin scale, because this thing is coming neutral, and this does not sit neutral very often, but when it does, you know that a large move is coming for Bitcoin, because let's look at the times that this has been neutral. So if we've actually looked in the fact that we've been neutral over here, sitting in baby volume, we had a large tank. If we're coming over here, sitting, ooh, I actually lost my tool. There we go. Let's go to the next time where we're sitting in little volume land. And you can see really anytime it's around this neutral area, at least sitting around this neutral area, you do see these tanks over here. Again, very little volume over here, very little volume over here, and then you still have this stuff either right before or after some of the strongest volatility. And I mean, look at these again. You did not have some of these zones. Now, some of this has to be put in perspective, because these were in times when cryptocurrency was more volatile, again, because of market cap and when everything was getting used. But keep in mind, guys, again, when you're around these indicators and oscillators, you are getting ready and preparing yourself for something big. It's very rare that you just kind of sit in no man's land with no volume, especially for the way Bitcoin is right now, without making a large move. So keep an eye on this. Keep an eye on this again. Looking, preparing once again, and now we're actually kind of getting ready to see what we can do over here. So I would guess that in the short term, probably here, I'm gonna go and move my cup so I can actually read this correctly, but sometime within, I would say probably sometime within the next 2 weeks, I would say that there's a large move coming to Bitcoin. Maybe even longer. I would say by the end of January, guys, I would expect a fairly large move for Bitcoin. And now, is that going to be up? Is that going to be down? Again, still not decided, but this thing sure is looking pretty decent for the most part. I mean, I would imagine that your MACD and stuff isn't looking too bad. Now, again, it did just go on a decent run over here. Is that going to be it? Is that going to be bearish, bullish exhaustion? We're going to have to wait and find out. But again, you're seeing lower levels of negative momentum on your MACD. Your MACD on your 4 hour, again, looking pretty clean as well. You're having a little bit of bullish divergence. If we go over here and we actually tad this one up a little bit, having just ever so slight bullish divergence, lower levels of negative volume consistently on your MACD, which is again something that you'd like to see over here. 1, 2, 3, and now 4. So again, looking pretty hot right now and looking not too bad, not too shabby. But when you're looking at these indicators and oscillators, you can't use them as the sole judgment for when you're going to make your trades, because these are exactly what they are. They're indicators. They're indicators to the normal chart. And this is something I was talking to, again, another one of the Patreons today, is about order of operations when you're doing technical analysis. Because when you're doing technical analysis, you can't just go straight to this, and you can't just go straight to looking at chart formations. You have to have an order of operations. Make sure that you look at your candle chart first, you draw up your supports and resistances, then you can move into pattern formations, then you can move into your indicators and oscillators and volume and all the rest of that. Because if you just come right here, you're going to end up getting a biased look at when you're looking at your cryptocurrency, and you come right over to the RSI and you see, I mean, think about it this way. If you come over to your RSI and the first thing that you see is like this or something, you're going to be like, oh, well, this has to be bullish. And I mean, look at this, consecutive lower lows like 10 times in a row, you know, penta bullish divergence, and you're ignoring everything else because all you're doing is focusing on this, and maybe you're ignoring the fact that it's been oversold and now it's losing positive volume, and then you go immediately into here misled and thinking that this is mega bullish, and all you will do is look for the bullish in here instead of looking for the bearish, when in reality you should be looking for both. So I'm not saying that this is bearish, but I'm just saying make sure you have an order of operations when you're looking at technical analysis, because it's very important. So again, this does look fairly good. Now, what could happen over here? Because in the short term, you can't help but think that this doesn't look the most bullish. You're coming down from being oversold, you know, a record high oversold that you haven't seen since July of this year. So your RSI on your 4 hours has been pretty hot. But again, these consecutively higher lows on your RSI, your relative strength index is saying, hey man, we are beating the bears out of the market at this point, at least on the 4 hour scale. Now let's go ahead and take a look at this on the 1 day to get a little bit of a better view. And the 1 day saying, hey, we're actually ready to rally. We were so oversold. It was a record level that I don't think we've actually ever seen in Bitcoin before, at least not on the Coinbase exchange. So one of the highest levels that Bitcoin has ever been oversold in its history, and in its history on Coinbase especially, that's where we were on our RSI. And now this is saying, hey, this is over, and we're actually ready to head to the overbought area up here. Now, one thing to realize, guys, is that when things are extremely oversold, the more oversold that they are, usually means the harder the bounce is going to be towards the overbought side. Because when something goes, again, extremely, the farther it goes down into oversold, it usually, not always, but usually has a harder bounce towards the overbought side, and vice versa. So again, very, very low over here. Then rallying all, again, very high over here, again, being oversold over here, rallying not quite as high. Again, this is when around the time of the year when things started picking back up a little bit in 2016, but this is a very large scale chart. So remember, when this happens, this is a daily chart, so this is pretty significant. And with this being record lows, you would imagine quite the bounce, at least in your relative strength index for Bitcoin, because this chart has been around since 2015 and it has never seen a low like this. So I would imagine that you would actually probably set a record high. Maybe it would be about a year from now, to be honest. Maybe about a year from now, maybe 9 months from now, I would imagine setting a record high, probably somewhere around the 98 range, 99 range, probably even maybe pushing towards 100 on your 1 day RSI, looking at a level up here. So that would be my ideal top if the 1 day Bitcoin RSI wanted to bounce like this. But again, I'm looking for a pretty strong bounce from Bitcoin because this 1 day RSI has been looking for some sort of a way up over here. Now again, that's not saying that it's going to happen right now. It's not saying it's going to happen immediately. What could happen, again guys, don't forget that this thing can always retrace before maybe bouncing back off and then coming back up. That's happened plenty of times over here. Look at this, bounces, 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 then rallies up. I mean, this thing could bounce down a couple more times before rallying upwards. But what I'm saying is eventually this thing is is probably gonna make a new 1-day high on your RSI on your Coinbase 1-day chart exchange. So that's what I'm keeping an eye on. Again, let's go ahead and take, oh, that's not the right tool. Let's go ahead and take a look at the 1-day MACD. What is this thing reading us before we look at this 1-day candle chart? And then we're going to dive into Ethereum. I'm going to go through chat a little bit here, and we're going to get back to this. Randy said, gotta go. BRB, hopefully great to have a stream here. Yo, thank you so much, Randy. I appreciate you in chat, and I hope you have a great night. Comedic Gamer said, I think it's going to climb. Look at the lower supports. Yeah, exactly. Bye, bye, bye. Moon, moon, moon. Handy Rams coming in bold with the buy moon talk. No, I like it. That's the thing, though. You can never have too many bulls. I mean, I guess you can. Look at 2017. Curtis said the only coins I've been topping up on is Nano and XLM. I don't own any Nano, but I really want to buy some XLM, if I'm being honest. Veld said, my fear is is that it goes volatile for months. My fear is that it goes volatile for months between, let's say, 35 and 4,500. I mean, I love volatility. It's great for a trader because volatility for a trader is just amazing, and you can make a lot more money faster, especially if you leverage, because then you're making good money. I was actually talking to the Comedic Gamer the other day, and he was like, all right, so if I did 10x leverage when Bitcoin was 3K, and then I held it, and, you know, I didn't get stopped out or anything, and I held it to 6K, how much would I make? And that'd essentially be 20 times your money, because if Bitcoin goes up 2 times itself and your 10x leverage, then it's 20 times. And we're basically breaking down how leverage works. Anyway, that's totally off topic, but we'll get back to the Bitcoin MACD over here. So what are we seeing? Well, on your 1 day, you're actually seeing the fall in Bitcoin's MACD, but your indicator, or excuse me, your oscillators are pointing upwards because of how far downwards they were over here. Again, seeing a pretty, big hit on your 1 day MACD. At least from your oscillators. But now that these are topped up, again, they're still pointing upwards. So what you could have happen over here is actually a bear trap or a bear fake or something. We've seen this again. We've seen this before. It's happened over here. Like, I mean, this is a great example of what happened over here. And then you form a essentially a higher low. And something like this plays out where it actually comes back up. And then it stops here, or maybe you even form a higher high. But again, you've seen areas where this stuff does happen. You actually do fake out, and instead of actually going down, what you actually do is it actually consolidates and then comes back up for a second run. So be careful. Again, this is why you do not trade solely off of indicators and oscillators. It's usually a bad idea. Just another reason why I don't use trading bots as of right now is because a lot of trading bots only trade off of indicators and oscillators and moving averages and stuff like that, when in reality, like, that's not how you should be trading. Or, I mean, I can't say that's not how you should be trading, but that's never how I would trade, because I will always out-trade a trading bot who does that. So I'll put it that way. So this is, again, another one of the hot topics right here is this right here, because I want to be able to talk about this, break it down, and explain that how clean this pennant looks. How clean it looks. I mean, it just looks amazing. It looks beautiful. This is a Class A pennant. It really is. Maybe you have one piercing candle up here, but on a 1 day chart to see something like this is rare. So this is very well respected. Again, touch points through the roof over here, just signifying, hey, we're getting squeezed. This is a pennant, and get ready for the breakout because it is coming, and it looks like it's going to have some volume with it. And why do I say that? Well, your volume has been fading away, but it looks like it's getting ready to start pop again. And I would imagine, again, the breakout for this, I would imagine, is going to be a decent one. To say the least. Now, the hard part about these pennants is determining where it's going to go. We've talked about why it could be bullish, because again, the bullish meaning a bull flag over here breaks up. You have the green pole, meaning it's a bull flag. Red pole means bear flag. For the most part, again, it depends how it works, but for pennants, that's how it works. So I would say 60-40 chance, 60% it breaks up, 40% chance it breaks down, relatively neutral, but this is what I'm looking at. Again, you can just ride this resistance. You're going to be able to see this getting squeezed over here. It's trying to beat this resistance, and it's trying to beat the 50 MA right now to get some sort of a breakout. Now, I know a lot of people got stopped out up here. Again, false breakout, piercing candle. We move on. Comedic Gamer said 2017, it was a lot of money. Had me cheesing. All right, so let's go ahead and switch this back over to the 4-hour, and then we're going to go ahead and take a look at Ethereum, because Ethereum actually has been looking like it's setting up an ascending triangle of sorts. So that is really cool as well. So we're going to go over, oh, that's the wrong, we don't do Bitfinex anymore. We do Coinbase, Ethereum, the USD, and this is actually something that we had over here, and we had this drawn up. I mean, maybe this could still be an ascending triangle. We just raise it because this is our ascending triangle now. Because you had your touch point over here, touch point over here. It's very possible, to be honest. This could still be in play, and then we just essentially raise this dude just a little bit more. Do that a little bit more. And maybe we can still call this an ascending triangle. I mean, you only have 2 touch points instead of like 3 or 4 when it was down here. But we can see for the time being. I think the big problem with this now is that it might be considered like a wedge or a parallel channel, and we can go ahead and draw that up. But that's the hardest thing that I'm seeing with this, is that if we're like actually drawing this, I'm gonna go ahead and show you guys what I mean over here. It might not let me do it with the parallel channel tool. So let's just say again, here's our support over here, and here is like our resistance. So okay, actually maybe it is forming a wedge. Speaking of the devil, so maybe we are forming a wedge. Yeah, so again, this is something to look at. Drawing this up. So could I mean, it's starting to look like a wedge now. So if I'm in Ethereum, I'm slightly scared. Bob said Ethereum is well over the 200-day MA. That's great. Yeah, again, it's over the 200 MA. Bitcoin isn't. So Ethereum's doing better than Bitcoin is right now, in theory. So if you're an Ethereum fan, you are praying that this thing is breaking this resistance ASAP. Because if it can break this resistance, it can break this one. You're praying that it breaks this resistance and that you don't break down from here. Now, I want to talk about a couple of the possibilities if this does break down. This is what's going through my head right now. All right, if this breaks down, where would we be falling to? Well, I think, again, immediately, I think if it does break down from here, you're going straight to your moving averages. Below that, you're hitting support. Below that, you're pretty much falling straight down, which by the time this reaches, your 200 EMA will eventually be somewhere around this area. Again, there's going to be a lot of consolidation in here. This thing's still going to be ramping up. So it'll be somewhere around this area where it meets, somewhere probably around $127 retrace, if it does break out of this falling wedge and breaks its support. So again, first stop you're going to have in here. It's going to hit its EMAs. Second stop, it's going to be at its secondary support line that it's held for a very long time. Third stop is going to be your 200 EMA, and below that, you really don't want to break that because that would be a brutal fall for Ethereum past this point. So keep that in mind when you're trading Ethereum, or I'm keeping that in mind, excuse me, when I'm trading Ethereum and looking at this as I do hold some. There are layers of support, and you have to recognize all of them and when to use them, when to set trades and stop losses, and how it all works, because there's never just one option. People overthink trading, and they have to think that it's something a lot harder than it is when it's really not. I mean, you just think, listen, 1 support, 2 support, 3 support. You trade off support and resistances and formation patterns and all this. So again, do you want to take the gamble? A lot of people are going to take the gamble here, and a lot of people are taking gambles. I've been in chats where people have been talking about these gambles, saying, hey, I'm going to gamble that this is an ascending triangle. And then you have other people gambling and saying, hey, I'm going to take the risk that this is a rising wedge. And then you have people buying shorts up here, and then you have people, well, hopefully you don't have people buying longs up here. Hopefully you bought your long somewhere down here, because then you're a whole lot safer. And then you can set like a trailing stop loss or something if this does break down. So 4 hour, let's go look at the indicators and oscillators. You get double bullish divergence before this previous Ethereum run. Looking at that, double bullish divergence on your 4 hour MACD, looking great. Now the one thing that I am getting a little bit scared of, excuse me, on the Ethereum charts, is that I'm noticing that your oscillators are actually probably, well, it looks like they're looking for lower highs. And what I mean by that is, of course, over here, you can circle this one too, your orange one. And then seeing over here. Now this is pointing upwards, so it could go rally. It could, it could keep going, maybe past this. I doubt it. At this point, it's possible, but it's looking like it's about to start pointing downwards again. But you know what? Here's the deal. Here's actually the deal. I say that, but immediately what do we see over here is an even lower low on our MACD. But your MACD is so neutral at this point. That's the problem. So, and then you have this in here, which is usually a reset. Whenever you see this, it usually acts as a reset for your MACD. So usually you can't make this triple bearish divergence or triple bullish divergence because this often acts as a reset where you have up and down, no volume. That's usually a good indicator that this is looking for a reset. So that's another thing. So, oh yeah, let's go ahead and back to chat. I'm trying to get better about chat. I actually added it onto the side. Let me go ahead and pull it up to make sure it's actually working. But yeah, I added a thing onto the side. Oh shoot, it's coming in double. That's bad. Well, we have double chat on the side. I'll fix that at some point. Probably after the stream. Macro Crypto, welcome, dude. Great to have you in here. Thank you guys all for being in here. We're just doing a little bit of technical analysis. I'm taking your guys' requests, and we're actually doing technical analysis on what you guys want. So we've been requested Ethereum and Bitcoin and XRP. Looks like we've been requested EOS now, so we're actually going to go ahead and take a look at EOS. Power to Achieve, welcome, dude. Great to have you in here. The legend, the myth, the man who's been around since the beginning. Anwar, welcome. Sounds like Mark Zuckerberg. I don't know if that's I feel like that's more of an insult than a compliment. Maybe I am Mark Zuckerberg. I'm just manipulating Bitcoin right now. You might never know. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at EOS. Hey, Macro Crypto, do you want EOS to the USD pairing or do you want it to a Bitcoin pairing? We can do it to either one. I'll go ahead and plug in Bitcoin, and if you want USD, then we can do it to that. Ethereum and Bitcoin, which is what we just did, were to USD pairings. To USD. All right, let's go ahead and change that over. Yeah, again, if you guys have any questions or requests or topics or anything, put that in chat below, and I'd be more than happy to cover them. So here we go. EOS to USD calculated on Binance. What are we seeing over here? Well, again, immediately order of operations. We're looking for support and resistances that we can adjust our charts to. So we're looking at something like this. Very, very beautiful support line that we have over here going. Again, 1, 2, you can count all this. Now 3. Riding the support and using this 50 EMA and MA beautifully as support. Just letting it get carried up almost like a cloud pointing towards the upside over here. So again, looking at this, seeing very clear levels of support from both this trend line and from your 50 EMA and MA. And actually, you have EOS over your 200 MA right now. So, over your 200 EMA, excuse me. So that is good. That's good to see. Comedic Gamer, if you guys are enjoying the stream, be sure to drop a like on the video and smash that sub button. Yo, appreciate it, Comedic Gamer. Yeah, if you guys are enjoying the live stream, do not forget to hit the like and subscribe button. It helps out a lot. That's really all I ask. Curtis says XLM. All right, let's do XLM, then ICX. Let's go ahead and move on into them. So here we go, EOS. We're looking at our support. We're looking at a resistance line over here, at least on our 4-hour. I do want to see, I always like to see this, though, I will say. I always like to see that if this can touch up to anything else. Usually this is too big of a gap to even mean anything, so it's not even worth it. Sometimes just out of curiosity. Now, if there was a little bit of things over here, yeah, draw this line out. See if you can connect it to anything else. But at this point, you really can't. So let's go ahead and look at this one, a little bit of a closer view. So this actually looks like it's forming a little bit of a pennant action as well over here, just on to EOS to the USD as well. Now, if you even want to make this a smaller term, you could go something like this and tighten this pennant up. Or if you wanted to do this another way, no matter really how you draw this is why it really doesn't matter at this point, is that no matter really how you draw this, it's essentially forming a pennant. You're getting a triangular squeeze at a 90-degree angle, which no matter how it happens or touches, if you ever have a triangular squeeze at this 90-degree angle, it's almost always classified as a pennant. So keep that in mind when this is happening. It doesn't necessarily have to be perfect, but if you're having this 90-degree on its side triangle getting squeezed, it's forming the formation of a pennant. So that looks like what we're having over here. These supports are going to be overarching. They're going to be pretty thick. So if you had to bet over here, this would ideally, I guess this would kind of be placed as a bull flag. Oh, the one thing I don't like about this chart is usually when you have breakdowns like this, then again, pennant or anything. If you look at this, like, let's go ahead to the 1 day. This is what I want to say. I don't like seeing this kind of stuff on a 1 day chart because it could be bearish, and the breakdown of this would be parabolic if it broke. That's why these kind of scenarios give me anxiety in cryptocurrency, because they can be so black and white that if this thing doesn't blink the right way, then it would have a parabolic rundown. And that's not what anybody wants to see. Everyone's tired of that. So you would probably want to set up a nicer bull flag than this. But this is, again, this is a trader's game over here. People are loving this because regardless, the breakout of this, much like Bitcoin, is going to be a large one. Your volume is falling off over here. It's getting ready. Again, when volume gets low, you get ready for large moves. I mean, just look at it historically. You get low, large moves. We're getting low, large moves, getting low again. Probably getting ready for a large move. Now, is this the end of the bounce? Is it going to be able to break? Again, another thing I want to talk about over here is this 50 EMA very clearly acting as resistance. You have 1, now 2, now 3. Like, you just have rejection upon rejection from your 50 EMA over here. But is looking to break that. And this is why, again, I'm a little bit bullish on cryptocurrency right now. And I've been a bear for a long time, for months now. And now as I'm looking at cryptocurrency, I'm slowly starting to switch over to a bull. I think that this bear market, again, I've said this before, but I think the most of this bear market is actually over, and you're actually looking at this consolidation and transfer period when cryptocurrency and Bitcoin and all these guys are actually looking to transfer over into this bull market. But again, that's what a lot of people don't understand, is that there is a transitional period. And it's not just something that happens overnight. So again, it's probably looking to get into a transfer period over here of reversing. And then we'll see how cryptocurrency moves from there. But if I'm looking at this pennant, slightly bullish. Again, it's kind of contradicting myself saying that I'm bullish on this, because any other time I see a breakdown than pennant forming, I'm immediately thinking, all right, well, it was nice knowing you. Off the cliff you go. But I don't know. I think this time it could be different. So, it's a hard call, but I'm going to go ahead and place my gamble that it's going to break towards the upside. It's kind of going against my TA, but I have reason to believe that this rallies. If it doesn't, it's actually great, because I've been hoping that we break down so I can buy some more. But it's a hard spot. Now this is looking a little bit more promising. This is your 1 day chart. It's actually breaching the buyer section. So this is your 1 day MACD. I want to go ahead and actually take a look at the 1 day RSI first. Ooh. Wow. This is actually way more brutal. You haven't been in the overbought territory, even close to it, since April of this year. So man, almost 9 months or something like that. So if I'm looking at EOS over here, I guess, yeah, I'm actually kind of looking for a larger move towards the upside fairly soon, to be honest. So yeah, I would say that this is actually not looking that bad for EOS. I mean, this is the biggest problem that you have over here on your RSI when you're looking at this. You don't want to have to ever retest this trend line. It would be devastating for everyone who holds EOS. It would, I mean, if you're retesting this trend line, the entirety of cryptocurrency and the entirety of the market is taking a giant hit. You do not want to ever have to go towards like below a 15 on your RSI. It'd be brutal, especially not on a 1 day RSI. So if this thing tanked again, like, it would be devastating. So I don't think it's going to. Again, I think that the worst of this is over. I think it'd be very hard to reach that level again. But, you know, it's not to say that it's not possible, because we've seen stuff like that happen. Let's go ahead and go through chat here. Does Ethereum have the momentum to break through 160 where it sits at the moment? All right, let me finish EOS because I don't want to. So EOS. So what are my thoughts on EOS in this? And based upon the daily, I would say if you're holding this for like a little bit, you're swing trading it. I would say I'm actually kind of bullish on it, and I'm kind of kicking myself for saying that. But I'll make the bold prediction that I'm currently bullish on it. I'm currently holding EOS. I can't tell you what to do. I can't tell you what to trade. I'm just saying that I'm personally holding EOS at this time. I've been holding it there for a while, so I'll bag hold EOS. I actually enjoy the project, and I believe in it long term. So regardless of where this goes, I will continue to hold my EOS. So yeah, with that being said, again, I personally, if I was trading EOS, which I'm not, but if I was, then if I had to, if someone put a gun to my head and said, all right, you got to either short or long it here, I would long it. So we'll see if that plays out. It's kind of going against my better judgment, but I'm taking the gamble here, the 60-40, and predicting that this breaks towards the upside. So if I'm looking at this on a 4-hour chart, again, these are kind of risky trades because no one, again, let's go back to this. No one wants to long at the top of resistance. That's why I'm having such a hard time arguing that. That's why I'm essentially saying I'm bullish here, but I would never trade here because you're at the top of resistance fighting against your EMAs. It's like the highest level of risk possible, and risk management is telling me, like, screaming at me, don't do this. That's really stupid to buy at these levels. Again, highest risk possible. So that's why I'm having such a hard time convincing myself that that would be a good buying opportunity. Oh, it's the wrong tool. Let's go ahead back to chat, and we'll go ahead and take a look at, I know someone asked an Ethereum question. I'll answer that really fast. What was the 160 level? And then we'll go back to chat. The 160 level. Okay, so this is what we were talking about on the Ethereum chart. It has to essentially break out like now. It doesn't have to break out now. But like, you have an ascend. Okay, I don't know. Well, this is where it gets hard. You have a falling wedge and an ascending triangle. Falling wedge has 3 touch points on resistance. A lot of touch points on. I think it has 4 touch points on support. Your ascending triangle has 2 touches on. Well, technically 3 now on resistance, and a whole bunch on support. So, like, and that's the thing. So if you're looking at this Ethereum chart, you're saying, all right, falling wedge, ascending triangle, falling wedge, and then ascending triangle over here. So I would say if I was Ethereum, I would be trying to break out as soon as possible to contradict this falling wedge. Then you can kind of do whatever you want. But the goal is to really get rid of this falling wedge as fast as possible. So, what was your question even about it? Does it have the momentum? All right, so that's a good question. It looks like it's actually gaining the momentum because if we go and we look down up here, our volume's actually spiking up. So that's actually a good thing. If you're looking to break this, that's not bad. Your volume's not falling off at all over here. In fact, it's actually going upwards. So keep in mind when you're looking at Ethereum, actually, it's not looking that bad right now. So in theory, it very well could. It very well could. Now, your RSI, this is where, again, I was talking to someone in Discord about this the other day. I think it was Emacs or Soy Sauce. And we were talking about the Ethereum chart looking bearish, and then all of a sudden all this new stuff starts getting added, and this is what we start seeing again. Lower levels of positive momentum on your 4-hour RSI. Not looking too hot for Ethereum. So, but then again, candle charts take precedent over everything. So, candle charts take precedent over your RSI. That's why you trade for candle charts rather than just trading strictly from an RSI. What was the next one? We are doing XLM. Curtis, do you want XLM to the USD or to BTC? All right. Where are we over here? Let's go back to chat. Power to Achieve says Wall Street whales are investing heavily into Bitcoin, XRP, and a few of the top altcoins. So something big is coming in the few weeks or months. Yeah, again, yeah. So you have a big players entering into the market in the first quarter of 2019. So keep that in mind. And a lot of these big players, as much as a lot of people hate XRP, a lot of these big guys are investing in the XRP. So love it, hate it, they're doing it, regardless of your like. So, have I ever heard of Life Token? I have not. I would love to hear about it though. I love hearing about new tokens and what they do. Always open to the idea. We're doing TA for Matt B. Were you doing TA for Matt B? I always get confused between this channel and Altcoin Daily. I was not doing technical analysis for Matt Beasley. That was someone else that I worked with previously. Mitch Ray. I worked with Mitch Ray for a time on Hyped on Crypto. He went and did TA for Matt Beasley. Me and Matt Beasley never had any beef. And then I don't know, something happened. I really don't know what happened. Some sort of drama happened, and I don't know. But I remember Matt Beasley. He was a super nice guy. The one thing I loved about Matt Beasley is that he always kept it real, for the most part, from what I could tell. But TA for ICX and Life Token, all right? I think we have we have XLM next, and then we have ICX. So, Slice Keeper, I actually remember you. So, great to have you. Altcoin Daily, I know them as well. So, welcome, Slice Keeper. Thanks, Macro said. Thanks, new sub. Good luck in this channel. Enjoying it so far. All in EOS and BTC. I love EOS, and I love BTC. So, there you go. Britton Kennedy, great to have you in here. Go, Britton. Love you, bud. Thank you so much, Britton. I need a camera reading through chat. Sorry, guys. I know I'm neglecting you guys. We'll get right back to the technical analysis in a second over here. And I'm just making sure I get caught up over here. So, yeah, baby. Happy to join the live. Great to have you, dude. USD. All right, so we're going XLM to USD. We're going to go ahead and do this on the Binance exchange. And here we go. Oh, man, this is a dirty chart. Jeez. Let's clean this thing up. There's a lot of old stuff over here. I mean, yeah, hold on. Actually, let's take that back. Let's look at this. Support broke. The floor fell out. That's brutal. Well, that was from forever ago. That was from months ago. I probably drew that up this summer. Okay, let's go back over here. So if we're looking, first things first, again, guys, order of operations, you're looking for support over here. And sure enough, you have a great freaking support. You're going to go, I don't know if you guys can actually see that. I'll zoom in. There's actually a wick right here. So you're saying, hey, wick here, touch, 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 4 touches on support, looking actually really nice. Can we draw something up from over here? You kind of can. Pretty messy. I wonder if we can actually cut through this guy. Oh man, this is the hard part about drawing these kind of pairs. Lower market cap pairs to USD is kind of hard because you have these crazy wicks all in here that screw up the TA. But if we are, let's go ahead and draw a couple resistances. Maybe, all right, here you have a very nice double top. So maybe if we draw out something like this. I mean, oh, this is going to be hard. Maybe even an ascending triangle because I see a couple touch points in this area. So maybe if we actually lower this level, there you have 1, 2, 3 touches. You have a rising support, so in theory, maybe. I mean, the only problem is that your supports just aren't high enough. Because this would have to go out for like forever. So if I'm thinking here, I don't know. I mean, this is actually a hard chart. This is this is the downside to doing charts like this, to doing low market cap coins on the USD pairings when they don't have USD pairings. Oh wow, chat is flying. You guys are keeping it up. Great stuff in chat tonight, guys. I'm loving it. So first things first. Again, I guess this is probably going to be your best bet on resistance. Ideally. Maybe this looks better on a daily chart, but like for the most part, this thing just doesn't look like it's forming much of any resistance. It looks like it just has a great support line. Maybe you can draw something like this, somewhere in this area. But there just really isn't any verified resistance for the most part, because the thing about resistance is that you need at least like 3 touches to verify resistance, and this doesn't have that. I mean, maybe you have the one line right here that has verified resistance and one line right here, and I would say that these are both pretty weak resistances. And then you have a very strong support. So it's kind of this weird thing where, I mean, it's a great thing because you have a very strong support line with very weak resistances. So I mean, if you're XLM, again, you're pretty happy right now. You're keeping this up. You're doing good. You have strong support, weak resistances. This is what you like to see. You're just kind of tearing through it because all the resistances that you had, you've torn through them already for XLM in your short term. Now, if you're looking at this, again, next goal would be conquering your 200 EMA on your 4-hour. Well, I guess in the short term, conquering the 50 EMA and MA right here. Again, you're riding it right now, ready to break out. You break the resistance, you break your 50s, move up to the 200. Well, I guess then you move up to this resistance over here, 1, 2, 3 touches. Break that right up to your 200. So you break here, you go up to around hopefully 12 cents. You break that, you hopefully go up to around 13.5 cents. You break that, you're actually looking at some nice price action, probably around 14 cents. So because then you start getting candle body, I would say maybe even higher than that, maybe around 15 cents. So that's what I'm looking for ideally. Just, again, looking at layers of resistance. Everything works like that. You always have layers of supports and resistances, and the people who look for buying and selling in entries, they either look for measured moves or layer of resistances. What's the strongest one? Based upon how strong the breakout was, how many resistance layers, can they break? So, and then knowing which ones are the strongest, which one are going to be the hardest to break, based upon how much volume it's having. Can it break this one? You kind of measure this stuff as you're trading. And then some people just do straight measured moves, which is fine. Let's go back to chat over here. What about BTT token from BitTorrent is something that can go big maybe? I was looking at that. Something to do with Tron, because Tron bought BitTorrent from what I've heard. And now BitTorrent wants a token. I haven't looked into it a whole lot, but I was actually reading just a tad about it today. Yeah, thank you so much, Power to Achieve. Yeah, if you guys are enjoying, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button. Helps out a lot. Maybe even share the live stream to some friends who are interested. Britton Kennedy said, simple question. When should I invest into Bitcoin? And Bitcoin in the next 6 months, or today, or 6 months from now, or maybe even 6 months ago? So that's... Comedic Gamer said, I would say 6 months from now. I think one more grizzly left in it. One more grizzly left, and I like that. So yeah, essentially what he's saying is that there's one more bear dump before the bulls come back in here. Personally, if I'm looking to buy Bitcoin, I can't tell you when to buy it or anything like that. I can't tell anyone when to purchase it. But if I was looking at an entry on Bitcoin, I would be fine buying anywhere around the 3K range and below. That's what my targets are for Bitcoin. My long-term target that I've said for a long, long time has always been $2,900. Whether or not we actually hit that, we've come close to hitting that. But whether or not we actually hit that, we'll have to wait and see. We're not there. We haven't hit that level yet. But I would be fine buying anywhere around a $3,000 Bitcoin for me. And same thing goes for the altcoins. And if Bitcoin's ever around $3,000, I'm fine with purchasing and spending my money on cryptocurrency. I might even start layering buys in here soon, because 3K could have been the bottom of cryptocurrency. There's a very popular saying in crypto that's been around for forever, and it's been around for years. I forget who said it, but this famous guy was asked, when should I have bought in Bitcoin? When is the best time to buy? And the answer is always yesterday. So it's, when should I have bought in Bitcoin? The answer is yesterday. That's what a popular quote goes, because I don't know. It's just a famous quote that I know a lot of people say. So me personally, anywhere around the $3,000 range, I would be okay with buying. And maybe even start layering buys in here in case this was the bottom at 3K. Then maybe start layering buys now. So, but I mean, if you're buying anywhere in this range, you're better off than 90% of people in cryptocurrency, because they bought at this range. So, and if you're holding it for a long time, then it doesn't matter as much either. So if I'm holding this for 10 years and I buy it now, I'm not going to care whether I bought it 3K or 3.5K. Like, it's not going to make that much of a difference if I'm holding it for 10 years. Because in 10 years from now, I'm very confident that Bitcoin will be well over $100,000. So maybe I save that extra $500,000. Maybe I save that extra $500, but like, you know. So that's just my thoughts on that. Chat is going fast. I'm loving it. Since Ethereum is forking now, it may have the momentum in it within the next week. I wouldn't be surprised if it hits $200+. Yeah, I mean, it's very possible with this fork. I would be careful because the day that that fork comes out, you're going to have Ethereum dump. I'm 95% sure the day that that fork comes out, Ethereum's going to dump hard. So be careful with Ethereum. When it hits 2,800 for the last, I would love for it to hit 2,800. That would be amazing. I would love, that would be a perfect buy for me, to be honest. I would love buying at that level. The community gamer, agreed. Very plausible indeed. Loving you. Thanks for all your TA. Yo, thank you so much, dude. Means a lot, community gamer. Bell said, great job. We're following you from the Netherlands. Yo, so great to hear you, dude. So great to hear that. Yeah, go ahead and type in chat, guys. Where are you guys from? Because, do I actually have my sound off? I actually do. Thank you, community gamer, for telling me about the sub. I don't know why I'm not getting the notifications for it. But yo, JP, thank you so much for the sub. Means a lot, dude. Love looking at the chat. Yo, thank you so much, Britton Kennedy. Yeah, so guys, go ahead and type in chat. Where are you guys from? It's great to have people from the Netherlands. That's one thing about this channel, is that there's always been people from all over the world, which is really, really cool. All right, let's go ahead and get back to XLM over here. If we're looking at XLM again, the thing that you're liking, strong support. If we're looking at our MACD, one thing's noticeable. Lower levels of negative volume over here consistently, all the way down. Looking over here, over here, over here, now over here. It's looking pretty bullish, to be honest. You do have double bearish divergence in the immediate future, but I mean, or no, that's actually contradicted now. So your bearish divergence for the most part is actually gone, and you could be looking at a form of like triple bullish. I mean, you could be looking at a form of like triple bullish, or at least double bullish. So, actually, this is actually looking pretty nice. This is actually looking really nice. XLM's actually looking pretty good here. The more I look at this, the more I'm like, dang, this is actually looking like such a strong chart. I mean, let's look at this on, I mean, yeah. So here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lower lows. You look at it on the 1 day, it's probably going to look just as good. Yeah, I mean, this thing is just pointing upwards. 1 day doesn't look quite as nice. Your oscillators look like they're starting to round down. It could just be a fake out. It could be a bear trap. Your MACD is pointing downwards as well. It's starting to curve, though. So instead of just falling through, it's actually curving. So it's also kind of a good sign. Let's go ahead and take a look at the 1 day RSI. I mean, again, this thing looks good. And this is, again, this is something we talked about forever ago. If you guys remember this. Like, look at this XLM. We called this. I remember talking about this. We said 1, 2, 3, 4 levels all in here, like all in this area, signifying, hey, a big bearish move was coming. You're going from oversold, lower levels of the overbought chart 4 times in the row, and then it tanks. So like this, the 1 day RSI is a great indicator. And now that you are oversold, you're actually coming back up. So this is sitting fairly neutral. Maybe what you see is a little bit of pullback. Maybe just a little bit of pullback, but like even then, like, to be honest, Stellar Lumens actually is probably the best chart that we've looked at tonight, in all honesty. So it's probably my favorite of the night. But I only leverage trade for trading, so I can't do it. I actually really like this chart, so I would be pretty bullish for Stellar Lumens, to be honest, and I don't own any. So that's saying something. I don't own any, and I'm actually bullish on it. So take that with what you will. ICX. What do you want ICX to? Oh, we're gonna have to do ICX to BTC. That's just like the only option because it's too small of a coin. All right, great to have you, Slicekeeper. USA, New Mexico. Buying one of every coin tonight. Could you? I think someone calculated how much that would cost. It's some crazy number, but it'd be awesome to have like one of every coin in the top 200 or like top 100. Excuse me. Even in the top 50. I'd love to own one of every coin in the top 50. That's my goal. Simple question. What does RSI stand for? RSI stands for Relative Strength Index. Good question. All right, so here is our support. Simple support line over there, acknowledging, all right, it has a good base. That's a good base, to be honest. That's a really good base for Icon. So if we're looking at something, this is where it gets a little difficult. I haven't done one of these in a while. Could we... So the problem with this is that it's gone parabolic on us. That's the hardest thing to do, is TA on stuff that goes parabolic, because then it's only like, there's really only one thing to do when it does this. When you're doing technical analysis, you're essentially saying, all right, where is its next resistance, right? It broke, as soon as it broke this previous high, you immediately know it's going up to this level, because what's it going to touch? In between this level and this level, there's nothing. There's actually nothing. Like this wick, maybe. But as soon as it broke this previous high, you're immediately knowing, all right, the resistance is gone. It's like lifting the roof off a house and saying, shoot your gun as high as you want. And that's what it's doing. The bullet's just climbing and climbing and climbing. Now, with this, I mean, even this is just weak. This is weak resistance. You have to acknowledge that too. Like that's just a tiny bit of candle body closings. Very, very small amount. Like this thing could go. This thing could go. I mean, if it doesn't fall somewhere around this range, and I'll go ahead and circle this. If it doesn't fall somewhere in this range, then the sky is the limit, essentially. Maybe I could go up to like 800. Then fall back down and retrace. Or wait, here, I'll tell you what, we'll actually do a fib retracement too. Oh, look at that. That's oh man, hold on. We gotta highlight this. This is too good for me not to highlight. I'm sorry. This is a great bear flag. Sloping, it fell down, slopes upward, falls down again. That is a class A bear flag right here. Again, falling down, consolidation pointing upwards, breaks down again. Class A bear flag. Very clear bear flag. And for this, let's do a fib retracement. I did this the wrong way again. Dadgummit poker. Did I just do it again? Oh my god. I was having the same problem earlier. I was drawing these fibs wrong. All right, so here we go. I was drawing them upside down. Looking at this fib retracement. I want to make sure I'm not missing chat. Sorry. I'm going to take a drink of water real fast. BTC flatline for 4 hours now. Yeah, we'll go back to Bitcoin in a second. Keep looking at it. If y'all have any questions about it. Yeah, thank you, Comedic Gamer. Yeah, great stuff. Is it no? Do you think there is a pattern? Can one of my mods just check out that link for me and show it or hide it? If it's like valid. All right, so if we're looking at this, again, target would probably be, if you're looking for a fib retracement from this previous high over here, then around, I would say probably around 780 Satoshis is going to be where I would, start seeing again more resistance. But again, that's the thing though, it's so hard to say because you just don't have much, of anything in here. If this was Bitcoin and I was saying that this was your only resistance and this was your only resistance, it would tear straight through it. But this is a low market cap altcoin that behaves a lot differently from Bitcoin. So if this was Bitcoin, I would say this thing is, the sky is the limit, and you really don't know when this thing's going to tank. The only time I would say that it really starts getting back into resistance is when it comes back up into this area over here, and it starts testing like this resistance line or something like in this area, because that's where some serious resistance is going to be. So this is your first major support. Your second one, I mean, it's impossible to tell. We can look at some indicators and oscillators for ICX. Again, your oscillators are pointed directly upwards. And your MACD is starting to... Actually, so your RSI is starting to... You're seeing one lower high, but again, one lower high doesn't mean anything. If you start seeing like two, or if it rallies like this, and like then comes back up, and then goes back down, and it like rallies, and then it comes back up again, that's when you start knowing that there's lower levels of positive momentum. But if it just goes like this, you can't be like, oh, it's a lower high, because then it can just go like that, right? It can just do a W on you. So keep that in mind. I would say keep a close eye on your RSI in this situation. Keep a close eye on this. Let's look at it on the 1 day. Yeah, I mean, even on your 1 day, even on your 4 hour, you still have room to run over here. You still have room to run, so I want to look at this on the chart. We're going to go ahead and switch this back to a 4 hour. And we're going to try to draw some sort of resistance. We're going to try our best. But it's going to be hard in a situation like this one. If you're holding ICH, you're loving this right now. So maybe, okay, so here you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 touch points. Resistance would be like 850. Maybe if you go straight up, probably around 800. So I don't know. Again, it's too hard to say. There's not enough information to say whether or not you should sell here. I would say if you're an experienced trader, usually what you do in these kind of situations is that you sell a portion. I can't tell you what to do, or I can't give you financial advice or anything like that. But if this was my trade, if you're hitting resistance, you sell a little bit to at least know that you're in profits for something. You sell a portion of your trade, then you keep the rest in there. And then if it keeps going up, great. If it goes down, you already took profits at nearly the top. So don't get too greedy in these kind of situations. But again, it's going parabolic, so it's hard to do TA on it. I hope that helped. I'm trying to break that down as best as possible. But when parabolic things happen, it's hard to call the top, especially when it's so close to the top. I mean, it doesn't even, yeah. I was going to say, it looks like it's forming an Eiffel Tower, but it's not. Not yet. Could be soon. Back to chat. What is a bear flag? What's the proper way to react to a bear flag? A bear flag is essentially, so there's a bunch of different kinds of bear flags. A bear flag is basically something when Bitcoin, we were talking about this in the Patreon the other day. So imagine if you have your chart over here, right? And it falls down. And then over here, you're either going to paint a bull flag or a bear flag. When it consolidates over in this area, you're going to paint either a bull or a bear flag. A bear flag is going to be something that's kind of rising, like that's a rising consolidation like this. A bull flag is always going to be a falling consolidation. If you have sideways after a breakdown, it's bearish. Now if it rises, so here we'll do a B for bearish, a B for bearish, and we'll go bull for the bottom one. Now if it rises up like this and then it goes over sideways, I would say it's actually bullish. So we'll do this for the bull. If it slants down, it's still bullish, and if it rises up, it's always going to be bearish. So bear. So keep that in mind when you're doing this stuff. That's essentially how flags, and there's different ways to paint flags, but for the most part, that's like the very basic breakdown of bull and bear flags. And now we got to delete all this junk. So hopefully that helped. I know bull flags, bear flags, and so again, if it's a bull flag, it's more likely to break towards the upside, and if it's a bear flag, it's more likely to break down towards the downside. It's easy because rising wedges are always bearish, falling wedges are always bullish. Same thing with flags. If they're rising, they're bearish. If they're falling, they're bullish. So, all right, let's go ahead and get rid of this guy. And I think that's it for ICX. So, oh, okay, actually, wow, I did not even see this. This is giant. So if I don't know who requested ICX. I just now saw this. This is huge. This is actually bearish because this is actually very bearish because what this is called is a broadening wedge formation, which is a very, very bearish formation because it's impossible to keep. So when something like this happens, it's actually really bearish because broadening wedges are horrible. Now it could hold the support. It's a very, very well established support, so maybe it could. But like you don't want to respect a broadening wedge because usually they make moves like this. They do like parabolic moves and then they just collapse, and then that's like it's like a one and done. So you really want to get rid of this ASAP because broadening wedges are very bearish. So it'll probably get contradicted, but just keep a close eye on it. Do you think ICX will reach $8? I mean, what's it at right now? Let's check it out. I'm going to go ahead and take a look at it on my second monitor over here. I just got a really funny comment on my latest video. Alright, ICX. Let's just go ahead and type it in over here. Icon. Good old Icon. It's currently at... Wait, do I think it could go to $8? Oh my. Well, it's currently at 28 cents. So, man, what did it peak at? Oh, it peaked at $11? Dang, and it's at 28 cents? It peaked at $12. Jeez. So, yeah, I think it's very... It peaked at $12. I think it's very possible for it to go to $8. Not okay, so not right now. Not right now, obviously. But in the future, yeah. I mean, if all of cryptocurrency rallies and Bitcoin starts taking off again, easily. It'll rally with all the other cryptocurrencies. And again, the lower the market cap is for the cryptocurrency, the more volatile it's going to be. So it's very possible. Now it would have to get somewhere like way back up in here for it to be $8. Maybe even more actually. Oh yeah, it'd have to be way more. Like you're talking like let's move this to a 1 day. It's going to be too hard to see on a 4 hour. Like this is where it's at right now. You would have to quite literally go all the way back up to like here. I think. Let me just make sure I'm right here. Where would we have to be? 8. Oh no, you'd have to go way further. You'd have to go like all the way up here. Probably like right here. Somewhere in this range. If you want to hit $8. Now, that's a long way to go. But maybe not quite that high, but like in this area. So you have a long ways to go if you want to hit $8. But again, it's possible. It's just not like overnight, you know? A lot of people, the big misconception is that they think these runs can go straight on runs. Oh, I just heard a sub. And Mark, great to have you in here. Thank you so much for the sub, man. Means a lot. So yeah, I would just say given time, yes, it can reach $8 immediately. There's really no chance. I mean, it'd be a more historic run than Bitcoin if it took off in like a month from now it was at $8. That'd be crazy, but I think it's very unreasonable. So to answer your question, sorry, I rant a lot here, but do I think ICX will reach $8 again? Yes. Soon? No. If that makes any sense. So maybe give it like a year or 2, 3. It's very possible. Maybe even less than a year. I mean, the charts are looking really good. I still think we're going to be around $6,000, $7,000 at the end of the year, but that's just me. And then I think after that, we're going to get some really big prices. But what do we got over here? St. Nicholas, your message was held because it would not show anything. Try again. Oh yeah, sorry, St. Nick. St. Nick, if you got that again, I saw that. I don't know why, but your message was held. And I couldn't click on it. So try sending it again, and we can take a look at it for you. Thanks, Poker. He will get to it soon. Okay, 88 to USD. Let's do it. Slice Keeper says he seconds the Cardano analysis. Well, then I think we have to do our Cardano to USD analysis ASAP. Get some water real fast. All right, so let's go ahead and dive on into this. I love Cardano. If you guys know me, I love Cardano. It's one of my favorite cryptos. So I do hold Cardano. Disclaimer, it's not sponsored, but I do hold them. So here is our support. Again, all right support line. Could be better, but for the most part, I'm satisfied with this. I am. So here's here's my Cardano support. This is what I'm looking at. I'd like to get a little bit of a bigger picture. And this is what I'm seeing in the short term. MACD, it's actually not looking that bad. This is pretty neutral. It's completely neutral at this point. Your MACD is completely neutral. You had bearish divergence, didn't play out. So if you're looking at this, it's actually kind of a good thing because you had bearish divergence and you still, even with double bearish, actually no, you didn't. You had bullish divergence. My bad. I was looking at this the wrong way because I didn't see this part. So that was the bearish. I mean, this is actually looking pretty bullish. Maybe in the short term. Yeah, actually, it's really not looking bearish or bullish at this point. It's just neutral. It's neutral on everything. Like, it's completely neutral. So this is one where you're looking at it and it's forming this pennant formation, and you're saying you're flipping a coin here because this is pretty neutral. And it's a coin flip. I mean, we can look at this on the 1 day, but I wouldn't trade this. Again, I hold it, but I'm not going to trade for this. Maybe even betting that it breaks this, to be honest. You're fighting through these levels. Now, I will say the one thing you got going for you over here is that you broke your... Well, you're riding it now. You're pretty much breaking your 50s. Your 50 EMA and MA. So that within itself is actually pretty good. Now you just need to hold on top of this, and this could actually be good. But I'm looking at this saying, hey, you've had a great run over here. You've had a lot of positive momentum. But on your 1 day, this thing's fallen off now. Don't forget to look at this. Look at your volume indicator. Your volume's fallen out under here, and it's actually not looking too hot. So I'm keeping an eye on the volume. With the volume dropping off, it makes me think that something bearish could happen over here on Cardano. Your 1 day MACD indicator oscillators look like they are trying to round off. MACD's pointing downwards. Your RSI. Okay, so here's actually the thing that I think could happen with Cardano. From the looks of stuff like this, I think what you could do is come down here. Maybe it gets higher than this level. That's one opportunity, and then it keeps going. But I think another one that's very viable is that it comes back down to this area and then pushes through back over to the overbought territory. Because that's what I would see actually in a perfect world over here. I don't know. Everything's so neutral, though. That's the problem. So Cardano, I mean, Cardano is just looking extremely neutral right now. There's really not a whole lot to talk about with it. Which is weird because it's usually never like that for Cardano. So the fact that it's like this actually has me even more interested in watching what happens to it. Because Cardano doesn't... I mean, that's like saying Verge or Tron is just neutral. Like, it's just... they just aren't. Usually. So... yeah. It's a top Korean project. Yeah, I'm holding long term. Anwar, what's the top Korean project that you were talking about? Can you elaborate? Oh yeah, can you elaborate? They have really impressive partnerships even with Samsung. Yeah, what project is this? Are you talking about Cardano or are you talking about Icon? think you're talking about Icon. Could be wrong. Because I don't know why Cardano. I don't know why any of the other coins that we've talked about would have a Samsung partnership. If you guys are enjoying, yeah, thank you so much, Community Gamer. Love it, dude. All right, so I think it's about time. We've talked about a lot of these altcoins. Let's go ahead and wrap this back to Bitcoin. What's happening on the leader? What's happening on Bitcoin over here? It's not really much. It's actually pushing resistance since we've been on here. We've been going for about an hour and 20 minutes now, and this is starting to push resistance over here. It's actually at the top of it, trying to break it, trying to peek out over here, trying to pull a prairie dog. But is it going to be able to break it? I mean, it's going to be a hard break, but I'm looking at this kind of bullish, and I haven't been bullish for a long time, so I'm actually excited to watch this. Now, again, I can't long it at this point. As much as I would love to long this because I'm bullish, longing on resistance is the hardest thing to do for anyone who does risk management. The bear in me wants this to come back down to support, have it touch like 2,800. Actually, I want to do this. It would do something more like this. It would be, yeah, so this would put it right at around 2,850. If it broke down. And in fact, let's actually do a measured move on this. It'll put us perfectly down here. Well, no, it wouldn't. It wouldn't put us as far as I thought. Well, it'd put us somewhere around this area. So it put us in the 2,900s. That's kind of funny, though. Ironically enough, it put us right down to support, so. Huh. But if we did a measured move up, where would that actually put us for that? So if we did a measured move. Another thing, guys, would you guys want, like, music going in the background? Like, would you guys want me to get some, like, royalty-free, copyright-free music and just have it kind of going in the background to keep something going? Or do you guys like it just being my voice and the silence and the peace? Because I know a lot of people like music and stuff. So if we're doing this from a breakout, I mean... It'd go right up to this previous candle body closing. But then you don't have any resistance really. So if it got up to this point, it could just keep climbing. Because there's like not a lot of resistance. So funny enough. Yeah, well, I mean, we're gonna have to keep a close eye on all this. There's going to be a lot of stuff happening. I'm going to be hopefully be pumping out a lot of content in the next couple days. We have a lot of things going on. Thanks for charting Cardano at Poker Throat. Thanks for requesting ADA. Yeah, of course, Slice Keeper, dude. Again, great having you in here. Great having Poker Throat in here. Loving just doing this and all. So back to Sun, 0.03 if BTC retraces to 3K, possibly. Back to Sun. Hey, Slice Keeper, can you say that one more time for me? I'm just having a hard time understanding what you were trying to say there. Did someone say 2,900? Some tunes could be nice filler. Music would be dope. Just ambient stuff. Yeah. Relaxing music. Yeah, so that's what I'm thinking is just getting something kind of peaceful to just kind of flow towards the background. Just so it's not just like dead silence or you guys just don't hear a computer fan in the background or something when I'm not talking or in between voice. I don't know, I feel like it kind of just helps the mood and the flow of things. But yeah. Then again, some people are ADD and it like will distract them, so. So yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. We're about an hour and a half in here below 3 cents for Bitcoin or for Cardano. If Cardano goes back to 3 cents, if BTC retraces to 3K, can Cardano go to 3 cents? Yes, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. It can. Not to say that it will, but it's very possible. If you have Bitcoin go back down to... if you have Bitcoin go down to 2,900, I think it's very possible that well, let me go check it out. Let me make sure I'm talking about that right. I don't want to say anything right now. Let me make sure. Let me double check this. Because Cardano was previously at like 2 or 3 cents. Yeah, so it'd definitely be possible. If Bitcoin hits a lower low, then I think Cardano could hit an equal area. So yeah, I would say it's possible if Bitcoin breaks down again, for sure. But I don't, unless you guys have any questions, I don't really have anything else planned for tonight. I mean, we covered a lot of it. I haven't been going over much news lately, but what is a lower low? So a lower low is essentially saying on your candle chart that you are going to have a lower low on your candle chart. So these would be examples of a lower low. A lower low would be like if this breaks down, then you bounce and then you form over here and you start doing your thing. This would be a lower low than this area, which isn't always good to be. It's really dependent upon the situation or whether or not it's good or bad. Usually it's bad. But like in a falling wedge, it would kind of be good because you're using support. Can you review our project that's in the UK? Anwar, what's your project about? I guess, yeah, I mean, if it's... I don't do ICOs or anything like that. I'm really, really strict. I've actually never done an ad on this channel because I'm so strict on the process, because I want to make sure, you know, I have the cleanest community. Heaven forbid I advertise a scam and then people in my community get like hurt by it. Like that's like my biggest fear. There's just so many hard things out there. Difficult question. What is the most volatile Bitcoin? Okay, so the most volatile cryptocurrency, which is what I think you mean, I would say it's any low market cap coin is extremely volatile. The most volatile mainstream coin, probably within like the top 50, would be Tron, Verge, probably Tron or Verge, to be honest. Maybe Encash is another volatile one, but I would say Tron and Verge have the history of being some of the most volatile cryptos. We recently sponsored the British Masters Golf on TV, on Sky TV here in the UK. No way. That's awesome, Anwar. That's actually huge. Props to you guys, dude. That's awesome. You should be proud of yourself. Do you currently have any positions open on BitMEX? No, I don't. But I am planning to... Okay, so that's the thing. Oh, another thing. Another big news. Oh my god. Big news. So the answer is short term, no. I don't have any positions on BitMEX. And Anwar, I forgot. I'll get right back to your questions. I'm kind of ADD about this stuff. But when... with BitMEX right now, I'm not entering a position because it's at the top of what I believe to be a bullish pennant. So I'm not entering a long because it's at resistance, but I'm not entering it. I'm not entering a short either because I believe it to be a bullish pennant. So it's resistance, so I'm not longing. It's a bullish pennant, so I'm not shorting. Too risky here. If it has a confirmed breakout, I would be fine with keeping a tight stop loss, a trailing stop loss here, upon breakout, and maybe entering into something. Or if this starts getting rejected, maybe entering into a short, but like it's a risky area. Like if you're trading in this area, you're keeping a tight stop loss. Like I am. I don't have anything open right now. If you guys are in Discord, if you guys are in Discord or the Patreon, I'm pretty vocal. I'm probably more vocal about entering and exiting trades in the Discord than I am in the Patreon. The Patreon's like a lot of stuff, but I can't post every trade everywhere. So I would say just join the Discord, and there's a ton of traders in there, and we're always talking about stuff. Because, again, there's like me, Soy Sauce, Blank, Emex, numerous people in there that are always talking about. We actually have a chat for BitMEX War Room. And it's free, so it's no charge, which is cool. Anwar, by the way, I would love to. Send me, Anwar, send me an email. I'll pull up my email for you, and I'll post in chat here. Oh, God, this is... I'm having nightmares about posting my email and chat again. Not nearly as large of an audience this time, but that's not the right link. Interesting. All right, sorry, that's not the right link. Let me try this. Yep, there we go. So that is my email. Go ahead and shoot me an email, and I'd love to get back and talk to you about that stuff. Because I'm always looking for partnerships. And I'm always looking for sponsors and everything. Just for videos or in general. I love working, even just collaborations. I'm always looking for that stuff, so... maybe I should pull out where I can without a loss. Or, yeah, I mean, maybe that. Or set a trailing stop loss. Because the trailing stop loss rides up with it. So if it keeps going, it trails with it. And then if it falls, like, say, 20... You set it to, like, 50 bucks. And then if it falls below the 50 bucks from the previous high, then it'll trigger. I will email you from my work email. Do you know I'm legit? If you click on the team, thanks. You will see me. Thanks, brother. Yeah, no, Anwar, thank you, man. I really appreciate it. I love reaching out to the crypto community and being a part of it. So I really do appreciate you reaching out to me. I'd love to look at the email, and as long as we can verify things, I don't see any reason of why we can't. So Comedian Gamer said, all right, so say Bitcoin doesn't make the fall to 2,800 or 3,000. We are all hoping, in a bull market, where is your buy? What would be a safe spot to buy in a bull market? So that's a really good question, because that was the thing that hurt so many people in the last bull market, is that they didn't know when to buy. So in a bull market, you can make buys. It's more about like trading in a bull market than it is accumulating. You accumulate in a bear market and in transitional markets, and then in bull markets you trade. So like, when are you buying and selling? Let's go actually head back here and talk. Actually, I might do a video on that, because that's a good question, because this is the bull market, and it's like, when do you accumulate here, right? So if this is the bull market, like, when are we accumulating? Because you're accumulating essentially on dips. You essentially buy the dip. That's like the slogan of bull markets. And if you're doing it over here and you see like essentially you keep buying on the dips if it's a bull market, and then you just keep accumulating, and then once you start seeing reversals, signs of a reversal is where you just start dollar cost averaging yourself out. So if I'm looking at this again, you can go ahead and try to draw a support line or something. A lot of people did that in the last one. So maybe something like along the lines, like originally you could have had this, and then you realize that might not trigger ever again. And then you could draw up something like this. Oops. Or maybe even like this. I mean, like, that's the hard thing. It's like, in this bull market, this is what I would be, I guess, looking for. The only problem with this last bull market is that it was so parabolic, it was hard for people to buy entries. It was literally one slogan: buy the dip and hodl. Or it's two slogans: buy the dip and hodl. Those are the two slogans of the last bull market. Because you could buy anything at any point, and it wouldn't be a bad buy. That's the crazy part about the last bull market. It was ridiculous. But ideally, you would have better buy options in a bull market. Like, again, you see it come over here. You see this happen. Again, once it dips, you never want to buy anywhere towards the top. So when this is happening and it peaks up, never buy the peak of anything. Never. So like, if we were looking at this on this daily chart, like, this is a very nice double chart. If you get a double top, we talked about this in the Patreon like a week ago, explaining double tops and how to spot them. This is a classic double top, very full price down from here to here. So being able to spot something like this, saying, hey, okay, this is a double top, but we're in a bull market, doesn't mean that it's a market reversal, but it does say, hey, there could be a good buying opportunity coming up. So maybe this just falls all the way back down here. It touches your EMA. You're saying, all right, well, the EMAs are going to act as support. This could be your buying opportunity. Right? You're in the bull market. You touch your EMA. It bounces right off your EMAs and back up. Or maybe it dips even more, and you could see, and down here, what I would be saying is, all right, I'm looking for a buy along this previous candle body closings over here in this area around 1300, or I'm looking at the 200 EMA. Never touched either of those. So maybe again layer in buys and then ride it back up. That's the hard thing about buying in a bull market. But I think again, buying like this would be a smart buy. Seeing the double top, seeing it catch on this 50 EMA and MA, probably looking for a buy in this area, at least for a short term. But again, this is a whole nother story, because this is like a historic event of like the most parabolic thing in the history of markets. Because it's like, all right, at what point during, like, let's just look at it on a 3-day chart, which is like what a lot of people use. Because essentially you're like, at what green candle do I buy on? What green candle is a good entry? And it's just like, it's just, that's why it's so hard to say. I was looking at a strategy by someone about 2 months ago, 3 months ago maybe. And what he did in the previous bull market is that he would buy Bitcoin whenever it started a 3-day candle that was green, and whenever a 3-day candle or something would like start or close and it would be red, he would sell it. And then he would wait until it was green again. So in here, essentially what he would have done is, like, let's just say like he started up in this area, right? It was red, it was green again, so he bought it. It was red again, he sold it. It was green again, he bought it, wrote it up here. It was red, he sold it. It was green again, he bought it. Red again, sold it. It's green again, bought it. Didn't go red all the way till up here. It was red, then he sold it. It was green, bought it. Massive tank, and then he sold it. And then you get the picture. So maybe that's what you can do. I think that's a super risky strategy. But like, I've heard that that's something that people like to use in a bull market. I've never used it. I think that there's better TA than that. That's just like, if you don't want to do TA, I guess you could just do that. Yeah, that's a hard thing to know. Jumping on a dang firework and crashing ballistically, so parabolic. Agreed. Okay, thanks so much. Just been wondering. Yeah, for sure. Imagine if those who kept waiting for the bear... Imagine those who kept waiting for the bear market while it was bulling. Like, no tomorrow. That's the thing, is you had people like this. They're like, all right, it's going to reverse here. You had people saying it was going to reverse at 10K, and then it shot to like 20K. And then they're like, I told you so. I mean, I remember talking to people who were like that. They were like, see, I told you it was going to be a bear market, but it was like since like 8K. It's like the boy who cries wolf. Like, eventually there's going to be a wolf if you cry it enough times. And it's the same thing with the moon boys who have been saying that we're going to moon for like the past year. But yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. I mean, I think we pretty much wrapped it up at this point. Unless you guys have any other questions, there's really not that much else to talk about. I mean, this is our 3-day. Look at our 3-day. Our 3-day pennant. But I do appreciate, if you guys did enjoy the live stream, do not forget to hit the like and subscribe button. It helps out the channel a lot. It means a lot. Thank you guys all so much for being in here. It was my pleasure. My name is the Crypto Analyst, otherwise known as Brendan TCA. If you guys want to join the Patreon or the Discord or anything, go ahead to the link below. There's plenty of stuff in there of ways that you guys can join and be active and join the community. Again, it was my pleasure tonight to be able to talk to you guys and let you guys watch this. If you guys have any other questions, shoot me a message on Discord, shoot me an email, just comment something on the video or on YouTube, and I will try my best to get back to you guys. I'm very active in the community, but I appreciate you guys coming over in here, and hopefully we can do another one of these soon, and we should actually have a YouTube video actually coming out tomorrow. I think we're going to do a technical analysis of either Bitcoin or Ethereum, maybe even the one thing we never looked at tonight was XRP. So maybe we'll do an XRP video tomorrow and actually do an XRP technical analysis. That might be our best bet. Yeah, we might actually have to do that. Anyway, we'll probably do a technical analysis video tomorrow. Maybe a news video, because I want to talk about proof of keys, and that's a huge crucial event. So maybe I'll write that up on Patreon first, and then in like a day or so we'll talk about it. I don't know, because that's not, either way, regardless, eventually we're going to talk about proof of keys and the circulating supply of Bitcoin and how it's significantly lower than what people think it is. And I also want to do some technical analysis stuff. So we'll cover both of those within the next week or so and break it down from there. So again, guys, I appreciate it. If you guys did enjoy it, drop a like. But until next time, guys, I will see you in the next video.